Hey, thanks for coming over. Look, it's been too long since we hung out together. Come in, sit down, relax. I have so much to tell you. So I know I've been kind of quiet recently, and I've been missing out on all of our friend meetups. And well, I wanted to get you around to explain some things. Not like a confession, more like an explanation. Are you okay if I just let it all out and tell you everything? Thanks. You really are a good friend, you know, and this will be a huge weight off my mind, honestly. Okay, so, hear me out. You know when we were roommates, I used to put on headphones sometimes and just lay back, chill, and drift off to sleep. Well, I wasn't actually listening to music. Those were hypnotic audios I was listening to. And you see, well, I found them like really, really sexy. Having someone talk so gently with me, making me relaxed to the point where my body just won't move, guiding me through a sensual experience, creating these amazing sensations inside. It's honestly just so intimate. Just bliss. Does that make me sound weird? I hope not. Anyway, they fascinated me, and I spent so many years in secret learning the craft, really immersing myself in the world of hypnosis. I'll have to show you my bookshelf later. I do love reading about hypnosis. The history, the key players, the techniques, and all the ways a mind can be entranced, guided, entertained, and manipulated. And anyway, here it is, the big reveal. I am actually an erotic hypnotist. Why are you laughing? I'm serious right now. Okay, it does sound kind of funny, I guess. What does it mean? Okay, so let me explain whilst you sit back and relax there. I make hypnotic erotic audios for people across the world, and they can just lay back there and listen whilst I play with their mind and with sensations in their body. I get to weave intricate stories laced with erotic suggestions, and I make them feel so very aroused. And sometimes I even get them to orgasm for me. It sounds wild, I know, but seriously, this is all very, very real. Oh, that seems to have piqued your interest. Well, would you like to know more? Great. Okay, so, if you like, I can take you through the process of how I write a script. I think you'd get a lot out of that, honestly. And it would help me explain what this whole thing is like for me. Is that okay? Amazing. I've been so excited to tell someone about this for so long. And now you're here, listening to me, and it allows me to feel so relaxed about things. You know? And I really appreciate you. You are such a good listener. Okay, so, for starters, I need to be in the right frame of mind. You know when you get really focused on something? When it's everything, and all other things in your world fade away for just a little while. Imagine just a blank screen, an empty Google Doc, or a cursor blinking, and a mind full of ideas. This is always how I start the process. Just my hand hovering over the keyboard, my mind fully open. ready to let everything out onto that page. I guess this is how authors feel, or artists looking at their blank canvas. It all begins with that empty space, a clear goal, tunnel vision. And then I start to write. And sometimes it doesn't feel like writing. Sometimes it feels more like letting everything go, like releasing my thoughts out from my mind where they are all bunched up and jumbled, and out to the page where they can finally rest and find meaning. Am I making any sense here? I hope so. I start with a pre-frame and then some framing, where I set expectations and I build the world and gently shape how the listener sees what's about to happen. I describe what I am doing and where it's happening. And this is where they agree to play along for just a little while. To imagine something for me in a very specific way, or inside a very specific scene. Just like you are now, sitting there, listening, letting me talk, beginning to understand where I'm coming from. This is framing in a way. And then maybe I'll invite them to imagine that they're floating on a boat adrift at sea, or lying on a sun-soaked island beach, or maybe in my bed, wrists tied and body secured, ready for teasing. That's all part of the framing, you see. Setting the scene, preparing the mind. And you can probably imagine what that would feel like, can't you? Just having your mind prepared for what comes next. And then I move into the induction, and this is where the fun happens. There are so many ways to take a listener into trance. It's like a slow choreographed dance where I am the lead and they follow, much like how you're following me now. I have so many techniques to lean on here, from permissive suggestions, where I invite the listener to relax more fully, or to notice their breathing, or maybe feel the comfort of their bed or chair. Or perhaps they notice how each word causes them to relax a little deeper, or fall a little further into the experience. Or maybe I would be more direct and ask them to close their eyes. And maybe you can do this with me now, if you like. Close your eyes and relax them to the point where they just won't open. Can you imagine what that would be like? Being so relaxed that they won't open. And imagine what it would be like if your whole body was this relaxed and this still. It's a lovely sensation, drifting like this. And once the listener is open and fully relaxed, I would slowly guide their thoughts like a shared lucid dream. Maybe I would get them to imagine the sounds of the waves, the feel of the warm sand, the smells of the ocean, the taste of vanilla ice cream, or the warm wind against their skin. And as I guide them through this experience, I can take them deeper, deeper down into a light trance, where my words become the lead and they can just follow. And maybe I would help them move deeper with me as I pace and lead the experience with subtle suggestions. Because it's so easy to just listen and allow the words in. And you can probably imagine how that would feel, falling deeper as I started to count down from 5 down to 0. And I could explain that when I reach zero, how they will drift further, fall deeper, and go fully under. I could have them imagine in so many ways, like 5 falling like a leaf from a tall tree, 4 dropping into an ocean in a deep sea submersible, 3 walking down a flight of stairs as I guide them step by step, 2 moving down an escalator as the world passes by, 1 moving back on a bed as my hands push them down. And then when I reach it, when I get to 0, they would be so hypnotized, so deep, and it would be far too late to resist. I may even make a note to snap my fingers here for extra effect, like this: 0, sleep. And you can imagine how that would feel as your mind shuts off and your body gives in and you fall under a trance. How wonderful it would feel as you drift and sink further with every word I say, and how pleasure takes over as my words hold you down. You can imagine. I know you can. And now, once they are in a deep trance state, now I can help guide them further and further and begin to shape their experience. Just as an example, I could have them imagine the feel of fingers tracing slowly against their inner thigh, a feather-like touch, making them ache for more. Or maybe it's the sensation of my warm breath against their ear, or the soft skin of their neck as my lips trace down and my body presses in from behind. Or even the feeling of being bound so tight, held down with leather or encased in latex. Those feelings so restrictive as I seed the ideas of teasing them gently whilst they remain fully immobile, keeping them exactly where they want to be. I could take them in so many directions, playing with their desires. Perhaps they like spirals or pocket watches, or the idea that my words can make them obey so deeply. And maybe they do. Can you imagine my words making you empty and compliant, as a slave, as a pet, as a slutty hypno toy? Or perhaps something softer, like the sound of my voice, or the feelings of being cared for, or loved and adored. But even then they would know, with a snap or a whisper, I could have their mind begging for control or for touch. I could play with conditioning, making them so needy, so desperate for more, like a trance-addicted toy. I could pose them and move them, and I could make them want to become something more, something perfect for me. Of course, I could also make them touch themselves, maybe run their hands over their body on my command, or perhaps making them rub themselves until pleasure takes over, and I could make them come by their own hands under my hypnotic control. Or maybe I'd teach them that orgasm is a reward, something they earn by obeying me, or even train them so that arousal becomes obedience. Or maybe I could just make them susceptible to a trigger or a phrase that takes them under with ease every time. I could suggest that the word sleep makes them fall ever deeper, and I can make them feel aroused at the thought of my control, of my words, of my hypnotic commands. Some people want something darker, to be emptied, used, or reshaped, reconfigured for a while others want something gentler, to be held, praised, reassured, told they are safe and wanted. And the beautiful thing is, both come from the same place, from trust, focus, and the willingness to follow, like you are willingly following me now as I take you through my script. And that's the curious thing, isn't it? While I'm only explaining all of this, while I'm just giving examples of how my script could unfold, you're probably already imagining how it would feel to listen. And maybe that means it's working already deep in your mind right now. Because, you see, at this point in a script, I am only really playing in to wants and desires, and perhaps my own wants and desires too. And maybe I enjoy being in control, forcing them under, making them mine. And perhaps it's so easy to fall into this, to be taken into this experience of being owned, used, and toyed with. Because there is something to be said for the kink of control, the sheer erotic pull of being claimed, the thrill of being guided, word by word, breath by breath, into something you didn't know you needed until right now. And perhaps that is why you're still listening, because it's curious, isn't it? How arousing the thought that someone could know exactly what to say to entrap you, to get you where they want you, to take you fully into trance and seed your mind with ideas. Curious indeed, how it would feel to be tricked and too deep to move and too aroused to care. And this is the part where the script folds, where the listener's expectations are thrown aside, and where the real fun happens, the slip, the twist, where the imagining becomes something else, where it blurs with reality, where obedience becomes something you want, a suggestion you need to follow, a growing need inside, deep down, because maybe you don't need to imagine anymore. Maybe you're already thinking what it would be like to hear one of my files, how your body would respond to the sound of my voice, picturing how I could guide you, shape you, take you. And maybe that idea itself feels arousing, and that's okay, because now you understand, and that is the point. That is the kink of control, of submission, of giving yourself to another. And I wonder how much you're craving that now. I wonder if you know how I would conclude a script, how I would turn it to my advantage, how I would really play with your mind. But maybe we save that for when you're really ready. And I guess that's it, more or less. That's the body of the script, how I would write it, guide someone in, enthrall their senses, engage their imagination, and sometimes If they're really lucky, I would take it so much further. You've done really well, just listening, and I appreciate you did that for me. It's so good to describe this to someone special to me, like you. But I think I've described the process, and I appreciate you listened to all of that. Perhaps you can now understand the excitement and exhilaration I feel when writing a script. So I would normally end with asking them to take a breath, and I could say something like, just take one long deep breath for me, and as you exhale, allow your mind to come back from trance. And they would. They would let their full awareness come back, their body wake up gently, their thoughts return once more. And I would say, when you're ready, you can open your eyes, and they would. Thanks so much for coming around, and it's so nice to share this with someone who really gets it. Maybe next time you could try one of my files, or even, maybe, I could hypnotize you and show you what it's like to be in a deep trance for me. You might even enjoy it.